There's just one neighborhood in Burlingame that's completely flat, and that's right in between both downtown areas. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you down Broadway. We'll get a sense for what it's like living in the Burlingame Terrace neighborhood. I'll give you an idea on pricing, and then we'll check out my newest listing, which is a really cool older home built in 1926. To see more of what it's like living in San Mateo County, join me every Monday at 5 p.m. I'm Raziel Ungar, and today I'm gonna share with you all about the Burlingame Terrace neighborhood. So let's dive in. So Burlingame Terrace, it is the most walkable neighborhood in Burlingame. But when you talk about walkable, and you probably heard of the walk score, I mean, you have to take all this with a grain of salt. But why do I think it's the most walkable? We have other neighborhoods like Lion Hogue that are walking distance to downtown Burlingame. I actually live in Burlingame Gables. Then you have Burlingame Grove and Burlingame Village, which are just north of Broadway. But here in Burlingame Terrace, you can actually walk to both Broadway and Burlingame Avenue, which is downtown Burlingame. We're closer to Broadway, but the neighborhood, actually the southern part, goes all the way down to Burlingame Avenue. So we are kind of bordered by El Camino on the west, Broadway in the north, California Drive on the east, and then Burlingame Avenue in the southern point. But basically between Oak Grove and Burlingame Avenue, that's mostly apartments and condos. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you mostly about kind of the single family home neighborhood, which is more between Oak Grove and Broadway. Actually, I grew up in this neighborhood since I was 5 years old, and my parents still live in the neighborhood. My wife and I own a home in the neighborhood. It's just a great spot. It's kind of anchored by McKinley Elementary School, which is one of 6 public elementary schools that we have in Burlingame. It's top ranked. It's at the kind of southwest corner of the neighborhood, right in the corner of El Camino and Oak Grove. It is really well known for its Spanish immersion program, which is super popular, and there's actually a lottery to get in. It's the only public elementary school in Burlingame that has an immersion program. If you value your child being in an immersion program, you're definitely gonna wanna look into that. I believe that another language might be added down the road, but I don't have any inside baseball knowledge if that might happen, but I'm sure the demand would be there. All right, so I'm gonna start off this Broadway kind of walking tour with you. Right on the corner of Broadway and California Drive, because we got this really cool iconic arch. So Broadway was kind of getting going around the 1920s. This sign's obviously been updated over the years. There's even a Save the Arch campaign I was reading online back in the late 80s. But this is a major thoroughfare here this is our 101 exit for Burlingame, getting on and off the freeway. And so this intersection here is actually one of the busiest train crossing, because Caltrain kind of goes through here. I think I read in the Bay Area, there's a lot of traffic that kind of goes through here. City's working on a grade separation project. It's gonna be very expensive. I think it was, I don't know, $100 or $200 million project, which would allow Caltrain to kind of go above the traffic, and then the traffic would kind of go underneath. So hopefully that happens, because sometimes you gotta wait there a couple minutes for all the lights to change, and it can be a little annoying. But compared to San Francisco, nothing down here is annoying from a driving and traffic perspective. But if you lived in Burlingame for a long time, could you be a little annoyed? I guess you could be. Okay, so we have Wells here. It's been here ever since I was a kid. There's a lot of mom and pop restaurants and shops on Broadway, kind of similar to downtown Burlingame. So we have kind of these 2 main shopping areas. One is downtown Burlingame and Burlingame Avenue. You can check out my walking tour all about downtown Burlingame, which is about 45 minutes, and it's very detailed. So on Broadway, there's 31 restaurants, almost 30 different stores, and another 39 storefronts. You can read all this about online on the Broadway Business District website. But all of these businesses here employ over 500 people, which is pretty impressive. So I'm not gonna have time today to go through all of the places here, but I wanna kind of touch on some highlights here. So like we have Cafe Latte Coffee. Across the street here, well, we're gonna come back, I wanna show you later, Preston's Candies and Ice Cream, which has been here for, well, ever since I was a kid. They have really good ice cream sandwiches. So it was originally called Preston's. The new owner bought it, her name was Irene Preston, no relation to the original Preston's people. And then she sold the business a few years ago, and I'm not sure who the new owner is. Oh shoot, they're closed today. That's a bummer. Well, we did go in there actually from a previous video, so we'll throw up a little footage so you can get an idea. That is the kind of quintessential ice cream store that we have in Burlingame. In downtown Burlingame, we have Salt and Straw, which is very fancy and very amazing, and it's $10 a pint, but you know, here is local and authentic. Okay, here we have the Royal Donut Shop. It's been here ever since I was a kid. Just take a quick peek in here. You gotta see. I mean, this is owned by, I believe, the same family that owns the donut shop in downtown Burlingame. which is right at the train station. And these are really, really good. I can't buy a donut right now, but you can kind of see it's very like old-fashioned. It's really cool. I'm personally a big fan of chocolate old-fashioned donuts, and they're really, really good. And then across the street, we have Max Liquors, which has been here for a really long time. I'm not a huge wine guy, but I had heard really good things, and I know that they're very knowledgeable. Now you can kind of see Broadway, like the architecture, it's pretty cool. Sometimes we see things that are a little quirkier. We see some stuff that's kind of newer. There's a lot of really good restaurants on Broadway though. And sometimes people think Broadway is like a sleepier version of downtown Burlingame, but I would disagree. Having lived near here for a very long time, there is so much happening here. And I think people around the country and other parts of the Bay Area would be jealous of, like, if they knew that their friend lived within a couple blocks of Broadway. So it's just Burlingame Avenue maybe has a little bit more sizzle. We got an Apple store, you have that architecture. But if you live in Easton Addition, you're walking distance from the southern part of Easton Addition to Broadway. If you live in Burlingame Village, just north of Broadway, you're walking distance. If you're in Burlingame Grove, just north of Broadway, you're walking distance. And if you're in Burlingame Terrace, which we're kind of talking a little bit about in this video, then you're also walking distance. This is actually the Istanbul market. It's cool to see this. I love all these different cultural markets with Turkish food and Middle Eastern food. I just absolutely love. Worth pointing out Village Host, which has been here since I was a kid. We have a lot of good pizza in Burlingame, and I feel like depending on what your pizza style is, some people love Village Host, some people love, we have Blue Line, we have Rise, we have Centro, which is also on Broadway. So we have a lot of really good options for pizza. We don't have every food in Burlingame that is amazing, but I do love kind of what we have here. I also love Roca, so let's just poke our head in here. They have this excellent melanzane, and I've done a couple holiday parties where we sat up in the top area here. And many years ago, I worked with the watercolor artist who became a really dear friend of mine, Dale Perkins, who's now passed. But we did watercolors of my favorite restaurants in Burlingame. So they actually have inside, let's see if it's still up, a watercolor that I donated to them. Yeah, I mean, this is awesome for a weekday at lunch, just seeing like this many people are here. And then you can see over here, they still have it up. That's my watercolor here, that we did, I don't know, it was 5-6 years ago and everything. So they have a whole bar. How's it going?
What are you doing?
We're just doing a video about Broadway, and I wanted to come in and feature you guys. Yeah, I love my watercolor still up there.
Photo that remember you don't want to that picture in, and everybody loved it. Wow, it's beautiful.
I gotta say, I mean, we're shooting this on a Wednesday, and most of the tables were full in Roca, so definitely come back, check out Roca. Across the street is Yon Can Walk, which we had takeout there a couple weeks ago. We had a couple friends over to our house, and it was excellent. Felt really fresh and tasty, so I'll definitely be back there. There's a new place, Curry Hyuga. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I hadn't even seen, so it's kind of the fun thing about Burlingame. Here there's a kind of a classic barber shop. Like, check this out. Look how cool this is. How's it going? We're doing a video all about Broadway. This is great. We got Joe Montana on the walls. This is kind of nice thing about Broadway. There's every type of business here. There's even Adam's Fine Tailoring at the end of the block. And he's the only tailor that I'm aware of, even in Burlingame. I mean, the cost of, unfortunately, these locations to rent is very high. And so it's been kind of, a lot of business can struggle with these high rents. And I feel like that problem is not unique to Broadway, but I am very proud of how vibrant it is here on Broadway. We're like 20 steps from south of Broadway here on Paloma, and no trip to Broadway is complete without making you aware of Shabu Club. This used to be called Shabu House. It's a Japanese hot pot. My friend Michael actually told me about this place. He lives in Burlingame, and it's super fun. They have lines out the door around dinner time. Obviously they're closed right now here, but you're just gonna have to come back and check it out on your own. Again, this is Shabu Club, which is fantastic. Of course, we gotta mention Behan's, which is probably the official dad's bar in Burlingame. I don't spend much time here, but I've been here a few times kind of at the end of AOSO soccer season, after coaching, and it just seems like a lot of parents like to get together, and this is a good spot. Obviously, there's Vinyl Room downtown, and there's a wine bar, but at least on Broadway, this is the spot. All right, so now we are almost at the western end of Broadway. Broadway is 5 blocks long, and we're just on the corner here, kind of where we originally started. I'm gonna take you back on the whole other side, but we'll just wait for some traffic here. This is El Camino, 1 block away. Oh, the Burlingame Pet Parade is coming up, and they actually shut down all of Broadway for the parade. So maybe we can show you a few pictures here of what it looks like. But this is Broadway Grill. 1 night a week, they have jazz. It's a really fun place to go. I've been here with my wife for dinner. We went about 6 months ago. My in-laws have gone here. It's just a fun vibe. So I'm getting a little hungry, and so we're gonna go inside here, Plucky's Board Game Cafe, which just opened in the last year or two, and it's super fun. I came here recently with my wife and son, and the food is really tasty. So let's go inside. There's a whole area in the back where you can get board games and play while you're eating. All right, let's go see let's see what we can get here. That's what I love about Broadway. There's all these kind of quirky, fun businesses, and they obviously spent a ton of time picking out all the board games that are here. The food is amazing. Of course, I'm at the bowl, so I'm gonna try their quinoa bowl, but they also have a little grab and go section over here too. All right, we're gonna go sit down here, because why not? I mean, I love all the brick here. So this is pretty fun. Okay, so here we can see, this is for up to 1 hour. These are free to enjoy, along with the purchase, of course, too. And then here, these are $5 per person per hour per game. So that's kind of what they all cost, is the $5. Now, interestingly, my brother-in-law is actually a professional game designer. So I happen to have a little bit more insight. I'm definitely no expert. And then a friend of mine did a version of Taboo many years ago. I mean, I love board games. I don't play them as often as I should, but it's nice to not be on the screen a lot. Oh my God.
This one is the Mont Blanc Mind Thief. It's a pre-sweetened cold brew, dark roast Philippine coffee, and it has our house cream tiramisu cream on top.
Oh my God.
With orange zest and nutmeg.
Even that
It's
ice cube looks
delicious.
massive.
That's a coffee ice cube. So as it melts, it gets better. And then this one's our strawberry spellweaver. So it's
Strawberry
our
spellweaver.
premium matcha with our house-made strawberry puree.
Okay, this is extremely creative. I'm very impressed. Thank you. We ended up spending a half hour there. I'm buying cookies. I even tried. I can't wait to give them as gifts. It's just fun. If you can spend money locally, like, why not? It just feels good. Okay, this is Centro Pizza. They're closed right now. But I went to an event there for the Burlingame Community for Education Foundation after like a successful fundraising drive. Oh, here's Adam's Taylor. Adam! It's Raziel, how are you? Good to see you. I'm just doing a video here. We're highlighting your good business, so give a little wave. All right, good to see you. And, I mean, that's where I go. If I buy some pants and they're too long, I gotta take them to Adam. This is Ramen Sky. I've heard good things about it. I've not been in here. Cafe Figaro. This has been here since I was a kid, and it's super kind of old school in there with benches and booths. And then down here we have Flex, which is a kind of yoga Pilates studio, I believe. And then there's Burlingame Farmers Market, which is kind of an unusual name for a business because it's a small neighborhood grocery store. And so, I mean, of course, many people do online delivery, but it is nice to spend your money locally. At the Farmers Market, they have a really good smoothie bar inside that I've been to a ton of times. It's a good store. All right, so thanks for being so patient. We're now only 2 blocks south of Broadway, so this location is so nice. You can walk everywhere from here. All right, we talked a little bit about that. Let's pop inside and take a look. This is a 2-bedroom house, 1 bath, but it kind of has a second bath downstairs, so we'll take a look at 1,250 square feet. Lot size is a little bit smaller than we typically see throughout Burlingame. We're sub 4,000 feet here. I think you'll agree, especially for what the price is of this home, this is a really, really attractive value, especially being sub $2 million. So this floor plan, I would say, is excellent for this square footage of about 1,250. So living room, we have really high ceilings. If you're into cooler, older houses with some charm, I know in real estate we always overuse charm and all that, but like it really does have the charm. Like take a look, for example here, I love these arched doorways. Had this at my first house too. This is original detail. But then if we take a look at this doorway here, it's all cased out, which looks really cool. And then if we look up at the ceiling, you can see the crown molding that goes around the edges. And actually back in the day, these are very common in San Francisco, you could hang picture hangers kind of down from that molding. And then it's kind of a cove ceiling. So this is pretty high, probably 10-foot ceiling. I like the fireplace. I like down here, we have some kind of nice looking tile and beautiful hardwood floors. If I were gonna do anything further in here, I'd probably add in some lighting, but right now we're shooting this about 11 a.m. Pretty awesome how much natural light is in here. So if this is my house right now, I probably wouldn't even have the lights on. But for after hours, when it's dark, I would put some can lighting in the ceiling here, and I'd work with a lighting designer instead of just getting, a lot of times people make mistakes, and well, not really a mistake, but people get $25 can lights from Home Depot, and honestly, they look not that good. And you could even see $4 or $5 million new houses that have $25 lights. My view is like, you're not doing the house justice. Spend the money, get good quality cans, work with a lighting designer, not just an architect or regular designer, but someone who really understands lighting. We did that on a couple of our houses, and I'm really glad we invested that money. This is nice from a floor plan perspective again, because we have kitchen over here, but over here is a little bit of a breakfast nook. I'm gonna show you guys in a sec the second dining area, but I think this is gonna get a lot of action. Since this house is on the corner, again, I love how you get two big windows here looking out. Now these windows are single pane. In Burlingame, it's not uncommon. I mean, this is kind of how they did it. Like my mom and dad's house that was built in 113 years ago that they own in Burlingame. This is exactly what it looks like with these windows. So you can buy new ones like this that are dual pane. I don't know, I mean, if these were replaced at some point, they might have been, but I mean, this is all wood here. These are pretty expensive to get regardless. But if I was doing this from scratch, obviously you would do a dual pane. But our first house in Burlingame, we lived in for 7 years before we did a major project and replaced all the windows. So I had single pane windows, no insulation, and it was fine because the weather here year round is pretty good. So if you're thinking about buying a home, Burlingame or wherever, and a single pane windows, no insulation in the walls, I wouldn't put that in the freak out mode category. A foundation issue, yes, but these are things that can be upgraded over time. And if you do buy them, I'd say get the best location you can. If the windows are single pane, that's okay. You can just throw some money at that when you're ready, but it's not like you're gonna be freezing. It just means that your furnace has to work a little bit harder to get more warm air because it's just a little bit more leaky. But other than that, like, you'll be fine. This is not Boston. Okay. Kitchen is fine. This is more of a galley kitchen though. So I'd probably consider, like, this is a very original, not original, but old cooktop. So for $1,000, you could replace that with an induction, which is my personal favorite over gas. Unless you're cooking a lot with like an Asian style cooking, you really value that wok breath. If you haven't heard of it, check it out, WOK, the wok. Otherwise, induction is a really good way to go. I like here, this is like actually not vented out. So a lot of times you'll see, which is code, you'll have a vent up here to vent the air out, and these usually act more as fans. So this is not great, but at least you have the space up here, and then you would just add some ductwork in, pop it out on that side of the house, and that would be kind of the right way to do this, but this is kind of what they did a long time ago. I'd also consider opening up maybe this whole wall here into the breakfast area in the living room. When we pop around the other side, you kind of see what I'm talking about a little bit. Over here is the second story, which we'll get to in a second. It's more of a cool split level, but this is the formal dining room. Now, I do like how there's this formal dining room. If you really wanted to, you could actually make this a third bedroom. And I think with the flow here, that might not be a bad way to go if you wanted. Or this could be used like 2 bedrooms plus an office. Or of course you just keep it as a dining room, but because you kind of have this main living area here and the breakfast nook over there, I think there's some opportunities here to like really add some extra value. Because sometimes we see these older homes that are 1,000 square feet. So this is 1,250. That's bigger than my first house. I think this is pretty good. So, I mean, you do have like these double doors that are probably always open. I mean, you could recess them into the walls, but that'd be too much surgery. But anyways, here, come over here, and I wanna show you the area that I was talking about. If you were to open this up, like here, I would probably consider opening all this up. Now, people ask me, I have clients ask all the time, okay, Raziel, can I remove this wall? The answer is yes, you can do that with money. Obviously, I'm not a structural engineer. You're gonna want to talk to the right people to give you that advice because I don't have, I'm not qualified to give that advice. It is worth mentioning though, that if there is a load there, if you can support the load through a steel I-beam and opening out the space, so you can do that because these homes are all wood framing. There's no steel inside these walls. And so it can be supported. It's just how much would that cost typically, but you want to talk to the engineer. All right, let's pop over here and let's check out the bedrooms, and then I'm going to show you this really good kind of cool area downstairs. And if you're kind of looking to buy in Burlingame and you want to buy one of these cuter, smaller houses, you probably already know you can go in San Mateo, you can go in other towns where you're going to be getting a third bedroom for the same price as a 2-bedroom in Burlingame. So if you're choosing Burlingame, it's because you really value the walkability. I mean, here you're a couple blocks from Broadway. We're walking distance downtown Burlingame, Caltrain. It's an expensive location, so you can get a smaller house. But if this is something that kind of resonates for you, give me a call. I would love to chat. All right, so bedroom number 1, bedroom number 2, and 1 bathroom up here. So let's start with the bathroom. Okay, this is not gonna blow your mind, but it actually is a pretty good size here. So this to me is totally move-inable. Some of the fixtures here are a little bit dated. Maybe I get a new rod, no biggie, but it does get some good light in here. And I do like that there's more of a privacy glass is frosted, so you're not looking directly at the neighbor's house. Lighting is, again, totally fine. Not much to say in here aside from this is about what you could expect. All right, bedroom number 1. And the carpeting in here is all fresh. There's plantation shutters, which I really like. Nice view of the backyard, which I will show you guys in a couple minutes. And here we have a double bed. You could probably put a king in here, but I think a queen is totally sufficient. A king might just be out of balance. And then in the second bedroom, and this is kind of normal for these kind of smaller, older houses to have these size bedrooms. This one is a really good size. I mean, you might see a home that's 2,500 or 3,000 square feet with a bedroom of this size. I'm not sure the exact dimensions off the top of my head, but we can throw them up here so you can see. Again, looking out in the street here, these again are single pane windows. There's no there's no window treatments in here. So this is very common with homes if when we're getting ready to put them on the market, if what's existing is either older, it's more dated, or it's dirty, we just remove them for photography purposes because they just lets in a lot more light and looks a lot more fresh. So this is not uncommon. So whoever buys this home, and plus they'll be able to choose, you'll be able to kind of choose exactly what you want in here, which is not a huge deal. Now, window treatments can be pricey, but you can go to Home Depot, which is what we did for 2 houses. And I think for $99 for a non-refundable fee, they'll send someone out, they'll measure your whole house, and then they'll give you recommendations. They have the top brands, Hutter Douglas, Levelor. They'll kind of give you an idea and they'll come up with a plan, and then you can just go ahead and order that way. But you can get temporary shades when you buy the house, which are just kind of like massive Post-it notes. Okay, that's kind of how I would describe it. Closet, not tons of closet space on these homes. I do frequently hear from my clients buying in Burlingame, people frustrated like, oh my God, I'm spending all this money and I don't have a whole lot of closet space. That's true. Fun thing about Burlingame is you do see all these kind of cool nooks and crannies. You see this at some homes in San Mateo Park too. Check this out here, all attic space. This is where I would be storing my Kirkland toilet paper, my suitcases. I mean, it's kind of annoying. You'd have to get a little ladder here, but this goes all the way back. And all right, let's check out the downstairs and the yard. And so this is kind of a little bit of a split level home. This floor plan is actually the split level concept. I see a lot of this in the Aragon neighborhood in particular in San Mateo, but in Burlingame, it's a little bit less common, but I do love it. Now, this down here is originally kind of part of the garage. This flooring that we put down here is new. This is I think it's a luxury vinyl tile. So we just kind of freshened this up. All right, so having these downstairs areas kind of between the main living area and the garage, there's always something that you can put here, which is kind of cool. So voila, full bathroom in the garage. And this is not, I believe, part of the original, like the legal square footage of the house, because the county record just lists as a 1 bathroom. But my guess is this was probably done around when the home was built. I don't know for sure, but at least you have a toilet here. You have a tiny little sink, and then you do have a shower all the way in the back, which is like, you know, totally fine. I'm not sure what the use case is here, but better to have it than not have it. I feel like we're in some Winchester mystery house or something. All right, and then the garage, this is kind of cool, I think. To have an attached garage is pretty much my preference all the time if you can get it. This home here has a 2-car attached garage. I mean, I don't know if you could fit 2 modern SUVs in here, probably not. The ceiling height is pretty low, so yeah, I could definitely not fit my Rivian in here. But if you had a little Miata or a 3 Series or a Model Y, you're gonna be able to fit that in here. But I would just plan, if you're looking at a home like this, you can just fit 1 car in here comfortably. And then I'd probably do some nice custom cabinetry on the side. I would consider epoxying the floor. That could be a couple grand, but that is money well spent, because then you can walk out here in your bare feet if you wanted, and you just can kind of mop the floors when necessary. So washer dryer over here, and then let's pop into the backyard, which is pretty neat. So the backyard here, you have a pretty sweet backyard. Now, when you look at real estate marketing and you look at the photos in MLS or Redfin or Zillow or on the Compass website, they're gonna take a photo as we will do here. Gonna be looking at the yard this way. But what you can't tell sometimes is what is the flow from the house itself to the yard. And that's why I always like to do Matterport 3D tours, just because it gives buyers a sense of what the floor plan is like. So if you're a home buyer, if I could wave my magic wand, it would be that all listing agents do something like a Matterport 3D tour, because then you can make a decision whether you want to go see the house by looking at the floor plan, because sometimes it's just kind of hard to tell from the photos. So sometimes the Matterport tour might not be an MLS, maybe the agent has it on their website. They forget to put it in MLS, so definitely check that out. Over here we have what's called kind of the setback area. This is a little unusual. If you're building new construction today, let's assume this is the property line. I don't know for sure. The only way you can know where the property line is by doing a formal survey. That can take 8 to 10 weeks and cost you $4,000 or $5,000. Again, if I wave my magic wand, I hope that in the next few years, Silicon Valley figures out, or there's some startup where they can pop a drone up in the air, shoot some lasers down, and for $500, they're like, this is the property line. But for now, we rely on the traditional surveying means. And you can kind of see the neighbor's house here. Like my hand is probably for sure over the property line, because I'm like only a foot off their house. So property line's probably around here. So on a brand new construction home, usually you have a 5-foot setback, and I believe you can get a variance maybe if it's a smaller lot like this, but I really am not speaking from any particular knowledge, but it's pretty close. But again, if I was buying this house, this would be fine. You can't really store any trash cans back here, but anyways, you would do that on the other side of the house. I recently learned a little bit about fire safety after the Altadena and Palisades fires. And one thing that I learned was that having wood doors or any fencing connected between a house and another fence, it's not ideal from a fire safety perspective. So I think the building code still allows for that, but if you end up putting new fencing in, like at our house, we have this here, and I'm just thinking about ways to remove the wood and maybe go to a metal gate. So just something to kind of think about. There are companies that will come out and do an assessment of the house for fire safety if that's important to you. All right, so this is kind of nice. Trash cans are all hidden, all up in here. So, and then there's actually a brand new HVAC system that we put in. You can see over there, owners, prior to putting this up for sale, spent, I think, $26,000 or so replacing the ductwork in the house and a new heat pump system. They had the option to just disclose it as is, but I said, hey, let's put in a brand new system here, which I think a buyer would really appreciate. And I think when we do things like that, sometimes that can help raise the price or help the seller maximize price by taking care of major systems sometimes in these older houses. And plus, these heat pumps also double as air conditioning, and they use about 2/3 less energy than a conventional furnace. So, and you can sometimes get rebates of up to a few $1,000s on them too. We have this put in by Ortiz HVAC. Alex Ortiz is a great guy, very high integrity. So if you need HVAC, tell him I mentioned in my YouTube video and give him a shout. Not too much else to show you in the back here. This is a stucco exterior for the house, as you can kind of see. This is, I'm not sure, there's probably a technical name for it, but I always just think of this as a bumpier type of stucco. If we look at the house right over here, they also have stucco. And you can see there's a little bit of a texture on the outside, the way that they've done that. If you're building a new house today, we see less of this bumpy type of stucco. On the outside, it's usually a very totally smooth finish, which I think looks really cool. The other thing I'll show you is, and this is not a big deal here, but kind of while we're on the subject, on newer houses, you typically want, so a lot of subterranean termites will get into the houses by, there's no soil here, but imagine if there was, because a lot of homes have soil that go around the perimeter. All the subterranean termites, they'll kind of go under there, and then because the stucco goes all the way to the ground, they'll just kind of come up behind the stucco there. So if this was a new construction house, the foundation, let's just assume it goes to here, this stucco would be completely gone, and it would just be foundation there. So on a home that we own, actually in this Burlingame Terrace neighborhood, when we redid the house, we had them chip away all that stucco down there, and we ended up redoing part of the foundation. And this way it's just concrete visible there and no stucco. So it's just a cleaner way to do it and harder for the bugs to get in. And again, with about a 3,500 foot lot, this is pretty nice. I mean, you could put a hot tub here, you could just hang out here. But again, from a flow to the house out here, it's not the best. But again, it's totally fine. I mean, if you're moving out of San Francisco and you have no space and no greenery, this is gonna seem absolutely amazing. So, but if you're kind of looking under $2 million in Burlingame, just know that less than 10% of the homes that sold last year were under $2 million. And this year, unfortunately, that percentage is gonna be even less. So if you're kind of thinking like your budget is around 2-ish or under 2, you could expect to find a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home of about 1,000 square feet or something more like this, slightly higher. But if your budget is a little bit higher and you really like the Burlingame Terrace neighborhood, we have had in the last year in Burlingame Terrace, we had 17 sales. Year to date, we've had 11 sales. So it's safe to say we have about 12.5 sales. And last year in Burlingame, we had 169 homes that sold the whole year. So 10% of them are in the Burlingame Terrace neighborhood, which is not shocking. We have 12 neighborhoods in Burlingame. Every neighborhood is selling between 8 and 12 or 15 houses. So not a lot, with the exception of Easton Edition, which has typically about a quarter of all sales in Burlingame per year. It's just a larger piece of geography. I think it's about 1,500 acres. Oh, I forgot to show you this part. This is cool. There's another second area. I don't know how much practical use this would get, but what I might consider doing in the kind of breakfast room, which is over there, maybe opening up some double French doors to the yard. Or someday if you wanted to demo the fireplace, if you're not a fireplace person, you could consider doing that, and then maybe doing a built-up patio out here, a redwood deck or Trex deck, and that just kind of give you some more ease of outdoor space and access from the main living area, just because on the other side it's a little bit disconnected from the house. But you can see there's still pretty good privacy, and I love this green screen that's here. That being said, if you're thinking about making a move anywhere within San Mateo County, buying or selling, I'd love to be your Peninsula real estate resource of choice. I know that was a lot. Thanks for thinking of me. All my info is in the description below. And to learn more about anything Burlingame related, check out this playlist, which is stacked with some of my favorite videos all about Burlingame. I'll see you guys soon.